But you do get very emotionally attached to it.
Oh, absolutely. That's a perfect example of getting overly emotionally attached.
There you go.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know whether to cry, laugh, didn't know what to do, and then I was like, oh, it's fake. Okay, it's just a game.
Well, it's good to be able to step back like that because a lot of people end up not being able to, and that's where you get into a lot of trouble. Anyways, like you said, Ultima Online was one of the very first MMOs, and yet it still has a very active community. World of Warcraft is one of the most recent and most popular ones. What similarities and differences do you see in how they've become and stayed popular?
I think the only common denominator between both of them is the community. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I mean, they're both fantasy games. They both have fantastical creatures and stuff like that. So they're kind of similar in that way that they're what you'd call fantasy roleplay. But other than that, there's really not too much the same about them. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure what the attraction is to World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do know what the attraction was to Diablo and Warcraft and StarCraft and stuff. And they just, Blizzard makes some excellent games. Mm-hmm. And, they've just tapped into something that even I don't recognize. I'm in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And I would think it would be more towards just the ease of you. I mean, anyone, my little sister can get on and go run a couple quests through and be done before bedtime, and at the same time I can get on and play for 5 hours and get a similar experience, and it really kind of is a very broad game in that anyone can log in and get something out of it what they want and then log off.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a little bit of the attraction. I don't know exactly.
They are another thing that I've noticed about them is their entertainment. Mm-hmm. They're both entertainment, and they're good bang for the buck. Mm-hmm. Because when you think about it, you spend, $9-10 to go to a movie, $15 if you want popcorn.
Yeah.
And you pay $15 a month for your World of Warcraft subscription. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, and you put, some people who are hardcore putting 40 hours a week into their game, and other people who are not hardcore, but they're still putting, 20 hours a month in. Yeah. That's good value on your money. Oh,
easily, yeah. And especially, I mean, there's a one-time, software cost and stuff like that, and I talk about that a bit in my paper. But overall, unless you're going as far as to buy like items and gold and stuff like that, it's actually not a very expensive hobby, which is one of the things that it gets slammed for a lot, is that, it's so expensive. Well, it's not really unless you're going out of your way to spend a lot of money.
If you went out to see movies and you paid your $15 every 2 hours and you played 40 hours a week.
Yeah, get there real quick.
Yes.
And coming back to that, a lot of people would describe MMOs as more of a hobby than a form of entertainment. Some people go as far as that, and then some people go one step forward and they call it an addiction. And in your personal experience, is there something about these games that make it addictive, or is that something that's a person-by-person basis?
I would say that the addictive nature is first. I believe that people have addictive nature on things. A lot of people are addicted to different things. I'm addicted to Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
And then there's other people addicted to drugs or addicted to sex or, addicted to whatever. And so I think it's addictive personalities that tend to be the more hardcore players. But the game itself, I don't think is really the issue of that. I think it's actually all the person who's playing.
Okay. And you said earlier, it's a really good form of escapism. Mm-hmm. And that to me is a argument for how they can be slightly addictive, in that if if you're relying on the game as your release or your relief, and you're actually getting away from the real world because you would much rather be in that environment where everything's easier and bigger and better, then I'd say that can be heading towards an addictive behavior towards the game. But I agree with you in that it's the person who's addicted, not the game that's addictive.
Right. Not like drugs.
Exactly.
That drugs can be addictive, but this
Yeah. It's yeah.
World of Warcraft.
And so saying that, people can be addicted to the game, but because they already have a propensity for that, where would you say the line where entertainment ends and unhealthy behavior begins lies?
Well, the line is different for different people, but when your playing gets in the way of taking care of real world needs or responsibilities, you've gone too far.
Okay. All right. And so, working here, your bread and butter for a while has been based around virtual item and currency and stuff like that in Ultima Online, which isn't against the TOS, so
Right.
that's good for a lot of people. Many gamers very much disapprove of these type of transactions, and so you've overcome those stigmas to become a highly respected member of the online community. And that provides you a unique perspective on the whole idea and the whole side of these games where, currency and items are bought and sold for real world money. What would you say makes these transactions so very distasteful to the community?
Well, what makes it distasteful these days is farming. And, farming is a company, typically, or groups of people who are working together to create items in the game at the expense of the entertainment value in the game. And then they turn around and sell that, and they get a really bad rap. When I first started buying and selling in the game, in Ultima Online, there was really no farmers. I had one or two people that seemed to come up with large amounts of items to sell to us for resale, but for the most part, there were two types of people. They were somebody who was retired and had a lot of extra time on their hands and found that they could make a living off of selling us stuff, and so they worked it as a job. But they were just one person. They weren't a whole farm of computers. And then there was the people who were programmers and stuff who knew how to exploit the game, and those got into much more commercial operations. So I think that there's two sides to it. Like, I think that anything in excess can be detrimental to the game or to a person. Like, if somebody's playing too much, it's detrimental to the rest of their life. And if one action is being done too much in the game, in like a farming type sense, then that can be detrimental to the gameplay as well. So overall, though, I think that the external markets are a healthy part of the game. But I understand that 50% of the people out there do not agree with me on that.
That's fair enough. And so you said, you started, way back in Ultima Online, you started doing this. And coming back to the now, how's the perceptions of those type of transactions shifted from back then when there wasn't a lot of farming going on to now when you could go?
Well, back then, one of the common ways that we got items was from people who had more time to play, and they would sell us these items, and it was a fair exchange.